The Death of a Graphic Designer by Adventure Zed. So, this has been one of the scariest experiences of my life. Perhaps even another example of the butterfly effect. I'm a senior graphic designer, and recently I needed a change within my field. I began studying UX design and applying for positions even as a junior just to gain some experience. I came across a post. It was an official job listing for a UX/graphic designer, and it was not too far from where I live. I applied for the job and maybe 15 others. Within a week, I received 2 interviews, including the listing above. I got dressed and went to the interview. There was a sign outside the double-story rundown house, and it read, EA Designs. It included a professionally designed logo. Now, I don't mind working in a building that looks like a house from the outside. But as I got inside it, it looked more like an unkempt old home. There was even a playroom on the right as you entered, and some other kids' facilities, but there was no light except for the light from the hall and the open front door. A middle-aged Caucasian lady appeared before me. She asked me, "Are you Zed?" I nodded slightly yes, not moving or blinking as she closed the door behind me, still skeptical of my surroundings. I quickly snapped out of it and stuck out my hand for her to shake, and confidently said, "Yes, it's nice to meet you." "Right this way," she said, and she led me into an office at the back. I followed slowly, looking through each room as we passed. It was mostly just empty rooms. Just stained walls with no visible windows, no air. It smelled dusty. My spidey senses were tingling, but dumb, naive me continued along the hallway. At the back was a medium to small-sized room. There was a huge, almost office/dining room-looking table at the center. In the left-hand corner, there was an elderly lady writing on some paper. She didn't even raise her head to look at me. And sitting not too far from her was a young girl who seemed to be in her early 20s with long blonde hair. "Oh hey, you must be Zed," she said in a cheerful voice. I smiled politely and responded yes, "And you are?" "Sam, I'm a web developer," she exclaimed. "I know this place looks like a dump, but we don't get walk-in clients as we mainly offer online services, and we just moved here. So hopefully we'll be doing some interior design soon," she said. Her words put me at ease, and I felt like being a jerk for being so judgmental, although it was quite an unprofessional setting, and the table was filled with papers, stacks almost covering the entire table, and again, I have to add, it was huge. The interview proceeded as usual, and the next day they called to say I had gotten the position. The pay was quite impressive too. I mean, it was a lot of money being offered, but I didn't think too much of it because there are some senior designers in the field that earn that well. So I accepted. Perhaps because of the large offer, but also because it didn't seem all that bad after the interview. I was to start work the following day, which was a Wednesday. I was greeted by the same middle-aged lady. She led me to the back where I was greeted by Sam, who had been waiting for me. She pulled up a chair next to her. The table was still covered in papers, and there was not a single spot for me to set my laptop down. I sat down and waited quietly for a few minutes. I had suddenly seen something running across the room. It was probably a rat, I thought. I jumped to my feet, knocking down a stack of papers at the edge of the table. The table became visible, exposing a section filled with holes, scratches, and what looked like dried blood. Blood rushed down to my feet, and my heart almost fell out of my mouth as I began having an internal attack. I said, "Oh no, was that a rat? I hate rats. I have some rat poison in my car. I'll be right back." I left my laptop behind and walked as if nothing was wrong. As soon as I reached my car, I booked it. I didn't even blink or look back. I just sped back home. I contemplated going back for my laptop and just quitting officially, but something in me didn't even want to move off the couch. that I had been seated in for almost 2 hours since fleeing the place. A few days later, I heard a report on the news. A body of a young man in his 20s had been found in an abandoned house. He was identified and the images of him were displayed. The house he had been found at was flashed on the screen. It was the same house. I felt queasy and lightheaded. I remembered having left my laptop there and thought that the police might suspect me, but the news said that no evidence was found at the site. I tried to find him on Facebook and Google, and I finally found him online and read through his profile. My fingers finally stopped scrolling when I read, "Studied graphic design." Had it not been for the rat, I would have not knocked those papers over. I would not have left, and the graphic designer on the news would have definitely been me.